Hi, I'm Karzan and I am a health and fitness coach for horse riders. Welcome to Mirage Stables in Turkey. I'm going to be taking you through a very quick stretch and mobility routine that's going to leave you feeling great, it's going to leave you feeling supple so that you can recycle the energy with the horse and have hopefully a much softer and quieter ride. A lot of riders struggle with tension in their hips. A lot of riders struggle with tightness in their muscles, particularly their hamstrings, their upper back, their lower back. And this can come about because of sitting at a desk, it can come about because of a lot of riding and not doing these very simple exercises off the horse. So we're going to get started, we're going to get down to the mat, and we're going to start off in a tabletop position. We're just going to do some very simple cat-cow exercises. So we're going to really focus on working through our pelvis and our back. And then what we're going to do is just make it a little bit more dynamic so we can start to bring in some extra movement and experiment, see what feels good, and then once you're happy, go the other way. So as riders, it's really important that we have this suppleness through our hips, through our lower back, through our spine. Spinal mobility is really, really key. So once you feel like you're starting to get some movement into the hips, the pelvis and the spine, we're going to then start open up and we're going to come into a thread the needle pose. So we're going to extend one arm up and then just passing it underneath the body, and we're going to make this a nice dynamic exercise. So not holding the stretch, but we're just going to get lots of movement through there, and we're going to repeat that 5 times. Once you've done one side, come round to the other side. Really stretching through. Brilliant. And from here, what we're going to now do is just work into this upper back and shoulders area. So we're going to take some big stretches around. I'm going to face you. We're going to just take some big shoulder stretches, really focusing on getting that range of movement through your shoulder. And we're going to start by moving the shoulders backwards. A lot of us sit at a desk hunched forward, and actually we want to go clockwise, working backwards through that right shoulder. And you may start to actually notice that you feel a bit of clunking in the joint. You may, if you've had a shoulder collarbone injury in the past or any type of shoulder injury, that it might be a bit of stiffness there. And then just come in and rotate through the other side. And then we're just going to go both arms at a time. Really stretching up, down and back. Staying in this position, we're going to Bring our arms to the side and we're just going to rotate through. And then to the other side. And then just coming up over to the side. So again, I like to make these movements nice and dynamic, not holding into the stretch too long or making it too intense. Nice gentle range of movement. And if feeling like you can extend into the stretch, then absolutely go for that. Really seeing if you can get that length through that side. And the other side. Next, what I see is a lot of riders get very stiff and tight and tense through their neck, through their jaw. So always really good to just check, see have you got any tightness in your jaw? I know for a fact that when I ride, sometimes I do have to just wiggle my jaw around. But also as well, the neck can get quite tight. So just introduce some very gentle movement through the neck. Not too much. You've got a lot of delicate muscles and structures and tendons through there. So nothing too severe, but just introduce a bit of movement into your neck, through the tops of your shoulders, whatever feels good for you. And start to just shake that off. Shake off any tension that you might have. Already I'm feeling tons better through my upper body. So let's come back down now to focus on our hips and our hamstrings. First pose that we're going to come to, sitting down on the mat, legs out in front of us, and just taking a gentle fold forward, gentle reach forward, really stretching through the backs of our hamstrings and our calves. This is where as well we can just introduce a bit of movement into our ankles. If you want to flex your toes towards you, you're going to get a deeper stretch through the backs of those legs. And then bring one leg over the other and just rotate towards that side. Really keeping your back nice and tall. You're going to feel that through the backs of your hamstrings and your glutes. Swap sides. Very good. And again, what we're going to do is just fold one leg towards the inside of our thigh. We're going to stretch forward. And then we're going to open with the other arm towards the sky. And you're going to really feel this through your lower back, and the side of your back and your obliques. And again, let's make this a little bit more dynamic. So we're going to do a couple of repetitions. Let's go for 5 of just this opening and closing. Motion. And then swap and work through the other side. And then rotate round here. We're going to come into our hips now. So with this exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to have our legs out in front of us. We're going to be sitting down. our pelvic bones should be fairly symmetrical, and we're just going to lift one leg off the mat in a rainbow arch motion. I'm going to do that for 10 times. And then we're going to swap sides. And really we're isolating this movement from our hip joint only, nothing else should be moving. Just going to get a bit of strength, mobility into that area. Have another little stretch once you've done 10 each side. And then what we're going to do is come to a mermaid pose. And this is a movement that I've taken inspiration from attending bar ballet classes. And it's done wonders for my hip mobility. We're going to have our knee bent in towards the opposite leg, and this leg again has a bend in it. We're going to bring that leg forward and then bring it back and just tap with our knee onto the floor and lift that heel upwards. So we're going to come here, we're going to reach out, tap with the knee and extend back. And here, if we wanted to, we could tap the floor, could extend just straight out in front of us, bring that back, tap with the knee, keep the heel lifted, toe flexed, and there. So again, this is an opening and closing exercise of the hips. I'm going to go for 2 more. And then we're going to swap sides. Yeah. Stretch. Going to go for 2 more. So we've done 10 each side. And come for a rest. Whilst we're here, let's come into a 90-90 pose. So we're going to have our legs 90-degree angle apart. You can either have your hands behind you to support you, you can have your hands at your chest. We're just going to rotate through those hips. And we're just going to make some gentle movements side to side. Whilst we're here on the last one, just leaning forward, having a little stretch. So we're going to come onto our feet. We're going to go into some three-legged dog. So come to a downward dog position. This is where if you're tight through your hamstrings, you might just want to pedal your feet. And then we're going to extend one leg towards the ceiling, bring it into the chest, and then back out. Ten reps this side. And then swap round to the opposite leg. Once you've finished that, come round and extend that leg forward, and we're just going to take world's greatest stretch. So it's up to you how deep you want to go. You can rest one leg on the floor, you can keep it raised, and then we're just going to extend upwards, really stretching through our hip flexors, through our lower back. And again, we can make this dynamic, so we're just going to open and close that movement. One more. Take that step back and then come into the other side. And again, nice dynamic movement for 6 repetitions. Place that knee on the floor if it's not already, and then we're just going to gently ease into a bit of a deeper stretch through the hips. And then we're just going to rotate, shift our weight backwards, flex our toe, a slight fold over just to get a stretch down the back of the leg, and then back into that hip flexor stretch, and then shifting that weight backwards again here, and then forwards. Lift yourself off the mat, take a step back, come into the opposite side, knee down on the mat, little stretch forward, and then shifting the weight back, little fold, gentle fold over the back of the leg. Once you're done, come down into a yogi squat. So we're just going to continue making space through our hips. We can give a little shake or a wobble. We can push our knees outwards if we want to. And then we're going to place our hands on the mat. We're just going to straighten our legs up. And come back. So you can see there's a big theme in this exercise, a lot of dynamic movement, and as horse riders we are dynamic riders. We aren't stuck in a static position. One last exercise for the hips. We're going to come and just rest on our forearm, and then we're just going to extend our leg upwards out to the side. So really focusing on hip abduction here. 10 repetitions each side, and then swapping round. Ten repetitions on that side. Coming back to tabletop, and we're just going to do a donkey kick backwards, really pointing that toe to the sky. So for 10 repetitions this side. You're going to feel a lovely stretch down the front of your hips, and also really engaging your glutes, getting that leg as high up as you can, and then swapping sides. Doing that movement for 10 exercises, 10 repetitions, coming back to the mat, ease out, and just taking one final stretch through our hamstrings. So just coming up, one leg straight, one leg bent, and then just extending to the sky if that feels comfortable for you. Swapping over to the other side. And there we have it, a very simple, effective upper and lower body stretch and mobility routine that is going to leave you feeling really good. Of course, you can develop this routine, you can bring in some more movement, but I think that's a very simple routine to do. And if you're able to implement that into your weekly routine just a couple of times a week, you're going to notice a really big difference in the way that you're feeling day to day, but also feeling on your horse. I'm Karzan, I'm a health and fitness coach for horse riders. I'm at the beautiful Mirage Stables in Turkey, and this was my stretch and mobility routine.